Hey, welcome, Jenny here. So in this episode, I want to share with you 5 big mistakes that I see female small business owners make that are mistakes that stop their business from getting to success. So let's dive right in. Mistake number 1 is trying to be in all of the spaces. I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had to have with female business owners where I have had to ask them to start to strip back some of the noise. And the reason that I have had to ask them to do that is because they're trying to be in all of the spaces. They're trying to be visible everywhere as a solo business owner working from home. Now, it's great that they want to do that, but the difficulty with it is unless you have a team of people that are there to support you with your content creation, your ability to be in all of the spaces and to go deep enough in all of those spaces to make them work really effectively for your business is nigh on impossible. So let's look at it this way. Let's say that you decide that you are going to be visible on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and X, and you're trying to show up in all of those spaces every single day at a level that is going to bring you results. Now, we have to be realistic about the fact that these days, if we really want to get any sort of valid traction on any of the social channels that is going to be at a level that it will help to change our business for the better, then we have to be prepared to go as deeply as we can in those social spaces. If we're on 5 platforms, our ability as a solopreneur to be able to go deeply enough in those 5 spaces to make them work for us brilliantly is nigh on impossible. So if we strip back 3 of those spaces and instead we decide that we are going to focus all of our efforts on 1 or 2 primary social channels so that we have more time to go all in those spaces, which do you think is likely to get you the better growth? Trying to be dilute in 5 spaces or going all in 2 spaces? Now, I know from the work that I do with female small business owners that it is those ladies who simplify, strip back, and decide to go all in 1 or 2 key social spaces that are the ladies that start to see the results from those social channels. So one of the ladies that I coach, for example, she decided to strip back all of the noise and just be present on Instagram and Facebook. And she posted on Instagram consistently, and then she cross-posted all of her Instagram content over to her Facebook business page. Now, which of those platforms do you think eventually blew up for her? It was her Facebook. And right now, she has just surpassed her first 1 million views on one of her pieces of content. Now, if she had continued to try to be present in 3 spaces, 4 spaces, 5 spaces, she wouldn't have been able to go deep enough on Instagram, cross-posting to Facebook, to get the results that she got off her Facebook business page. So with all of the ladies that I coach or who come into my membership, what I am always saying to them is you've got to drown out all of the noise and you have got to be prepared to go deep in 1 or 2 places. Doing that gives you a much better chance of making the algorithm in those spaces happy enough that you start to see some results from those places. Now, if we take any of the social platforms, there are 2 things that are fundamentally key to your growth and success. Actually, 3. The 3 things fundamental to your growth and success in any of the social spaces are 1, consistency. 2, you may not like this, but it is the truth, the volume of content you can get out in those social spaces every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. And 3, the quality of the content you produce. So you can't start thinking, well, if quantity is the thing that is going to help me grow, I'm going to get 10 posts out a day, but I'm just going to shit post anything, because that is not going to bring you the success you want and need. You have to be able to be consistent, to create quality content in volume, but that content has to be content that is of benefit to your audience. Otherwise, your social channel still stays dead. All right, moving on. The second mistake that I see many female small business owners make, I've just mentioned this, is inconsistency. It is one of the single biggest drivers of whether you are going to grow or not, inconsistent or consistent. So if there is somewhere that you are visible, and it doesn't matter whether that's a social channel, Pinterest, a blog, podcast, a YouTube channel, or your email list, or places like Etsy, if you're a creative business owner and you're using a marketplace platform. If you know that you are being inconsistent in any of those spaces, then one of 2 things needs to happen. You either need to change it and make a commitment to being more consistent, or you remove that thing from the equation. Because no matter how much you would love it to be so, being inconsistent in any space and then expecting results from that space is a fool's game. So this comes back to stripping back enough of the noise so that the spaces that you choose to be present in are ones that you can continue to be really consistent in. There is no point in you having a mailing list if you send an email out this week and then nobody hears from you for 4 weeks. There is no point in you being on Facebook if you post 3 times a week and then you disappear for 2 weeks. There is no point in you being on YouTube if you put an episode out this week and then you disappear for 3 months. Whatever you choose as your business model, the spaces you're going to be visible in, those spaces need your consistent commitment. Without it, the chances are those spaces are not going to serve you. And a lot of female small business owners start to really feel disheartened with their business because they're in all of the spaces and they're showing up sporadically in some or all of them. And then they get really disappointed when the results don't show. So it is absolutely paramount that you become really serious about your consistency in the spaces that you're going to be visible. So if there is a space that you know you have been inconsistent in, your choices are, I make an effort to change this and I become more consistent, even if that means 3 times a week, but every single week rather than once this week, 10 times next week and then disappearing, or you let the space go. All right, mistake number 3, not speaking about your offers often enough. The amount of conversations I have to have with ladies in my community about the fact that if you don't show up and speak about your offers, nobody's going to know they exist. So seriously, whether you are confident about showing up and promoting your offers or not, you have got to get those offers visible to the people that you serve. So at least a couple of times a week in your social content, you should be talking about your offers. At least once a week in your emails, you should be talking about your offers. In every YouTube episode you create, or podcast you send live, or blog you write, somewhere within those things, you should be speaking about your offers. Because if you have offers that are not being heard about, then your business doesn't make money. And if your business doesn't make money, at some point down the line, that business is going to fail. So I want you to make a commitment right now. That is, no matter how much I lack confidence about talking about my offers, no matter how much I lack confidence about showing up and sharing those offers with my audience, I am still going to do it. So if you have got offers that have been out there and available for the longest of times, and it's been weeks or months since anybody heard about those offers, they're of no value to you. More importantly, they're of no value to your audience. Your people need what it is you're selling. It is your responsibility as a business owner to show up and share about your offers. And the one thing that I see a lot of people do is they'll create an offer, they'll launch it, it doesn't get very many results, they'll speak about it once or twice, and then they'll go off and chase another offer thinking it's the next offer that's going to be the one that blows up. Meanwhile, all of the offers they've already created are just sitting gathering dust. You do not need to create more and more offers if the offers you already have are never being spoken about, are never being shared, and are not selling. So until you've sorted out your strategy to start promoting your offers more frequently to all of your audience in all of the spaces you are visible, you shouldn't be stacking more and more offers on top that then get spoken about once and go and join the rest of the offers sitting over here gathering dust. Right, the next mistake that I want to move on to, mistake number 4. This was a big one for me when I first started my journey in the online space, and it's buying into all of the noise online. The noise that tries to convince you that there is some sort of really fast, really easy, overnight way for you to build success. It doesn't exist. Drown the noise out and instead prepare yourself for a longer journey. If you go and have a look at most of the really big people out there in the online space, we're talking about like the Hormozis and the Gary V's, for example, when you dig deep enough into their journeys, that they were on this like 10-year journey before they really started to get to the point where their business was turning over millions and millions and millions every year. And within that journey, they had multiple fails. That is the normal course for a business that wants to get to kind of multi-million pound levels. You will see a lot of people showing up online and promising you 5 figures overnight or 5 figures within a very short period of time. And quite often, even if those people have achieved that sort of level of success, they are often flash in the pan businesses because they don't have the foundations and the core strategy underneath their business that continues to guide the business to create that sort of level of income for the longer term. So please know that you are on a longer journey. You will make money, brilliant. But in order for you to get to a point where you are turning over large sums of money every year, if that is your goal, this is a long-term journey that you have to be prepared for with the multiple challenges that are probably going to come your way through that journey. All right, last one, mistake number 5. This is where a lot of female small business owners leave money on the table. And it is where they will create an offer. They will get really excited. They will put that offer out. They'll maybe sell some of that offer to some of their people, and then their people drop off a cliff. If you do not have onwards journeys in place for anyone that buys anything from you, then you're leaving money on the table. So a very good example is, let's say that I've got a $10 guide that I am selling, and I get 100 people that buy that $10 guide, and that's it. I'm like, woohoo, I've just made £1,000. But those people that have just bought that guide are in a prime buying position. So if they buy my $10 guide and then I push them immediately to an upsell or a downsell or a cross sell that is $17 or $27 or $7 or $47, and I give them the opportunity to buy something else right at the point that they're buying the original guide, guess what? Some of those people will make the decision to buy that second offer. That means that I have the potential to take a $10 sale and convert at least some of the buyers into a $27 deal or a $47 sale or a $97 deal or sale. It is fundamental to your business that you create onwards journeys. Now, you can create those onwards journeys by having them buy something and sticking them straight into a second, third, fourth, fifth part of your funnel, each of those parts giving them something else to buy. Or they can buy something from you and they go onto your mailing list and you immediately put them into an email sequence that gives them something else to buy or multiple things to buy. You have to have these journeys in place, because without them, you are probably leaving 5 times your revenue potential on the table. And you have to ask yourself, how important is it for me to increase my revenue 5 times over by taking the time to build out more offers and more journeys for my audience once they take an initial buying action with me? So please think about this. Think about how when somebody buys, you can then put something else in front of them straight away that excites them enough, that gives them the potential to buy something else, so that you are increasing the revenue that you earn per person that buys something from you. It is a massive gap, bottleneck, that I see missing in a lot of ladies' businesses when they first come on board with me. And it's one of the primary things we fix, because revenue is important to them. Making enough money to change their life financially for the better forever is a priority for them. And so we have to work on the strategy that is going to help that happen. And having onwards journeys for their customers in place to give those customers the opportunity to buy more is fundamentally key to increasing the revenue to their business. Selling more to the people that have already invested in you, instead of constantly trying to get new people on board all the time, because you're only selling one thing to that person that has just bought. It takes an enormous amount of pressure off you constantly having to try and pull more people into your net, because you can sell to the people that have already bought. Now, the ladies in my community, they will often come on board with a low ticket item. Some of them will go from that low ticket item to other low ticket products that I have. Some of them will then go from that low ticket product into my membership 40k club. And some of them will then go from that membership into my one-to-one coaching. But if I'm not putting those offers in front of those people that have already made that initial purchase, there's no opportunity for them to buy. So please sort out your customer journeys so that you can present your people with more opportunity to buy from you. Okay, that's it. If you liked this video, or if you've got any sort of comment or question, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Just drop it below. And in the show notes, you will find a link to some of my resources that may be of value to you as you start to build your business in the online space and try to get to the point where you are earning more revenue in your business. So go check those resources out, and I will see you again for another episode real soon. Take care for now. Bye.